Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Light Gate. Happy Monday. We have a wonderful show tonight. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on Roku, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and many other platforms. We have a really cool show tonight. It is with a great person. Preston's been on our show before, and I've had communications with her. She's a great gal, and I can't wait for it to get started. So I'm handing it over to Preston. Oh.
Thanks, Dolly. Thanks very much. You are all watching The Light Gate, and this is our episode 28, I believe, if I've got it counted correctly. I'm your host, Preston Dennett, author and experiencer to a degree, not as much as my lovely co-host, Dolly Safran, who's the subject of my book, Symmetry. She is, of course, a fully conscious contactee since age 14. Yeah, I'm super excited about our guest because boy, does she have some amazing experiences to share. She's got a number of books under her belt. She's done a lot of speaking. She's a podcast. Well, I'm jumping ahead. First, I want to say hi to all our lovely people in chat. And thanks very much for showing up. And happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday, Brian.
Awesome. Another solar revolution is always something to celebrate. I want to say hi to all you other folks because we truly appreciate you showing up each week to hear our lovely guests. So hi to Kayleen White and Scarlet Fire, and hey, here's Michael Kennedy.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Kylie. And of course, Amadeus Schiffer. You're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce that. I think it's Schiffer, but I don't know. Louise, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. We just connected as friends on Facebook just shortly. Namaste. Thank you. Yes, I am looking forward to hearing our guest because wait do you hear all the experiences she's had. And I know Dolly already brought this up, but thank you. Namaste. All super chat donations are truly welcome. I'm working very hard to improve our show and all the production quality and all the things that go into it. It's a lot of work. I did a show many years ago, 20 years ago, and had to give it up because it was so much work. But now with Dolly's help and a producer, we're getting along. We're having fun. Okay, who else do we have here? Janice Connett, always nice to see you here. More birthday wishes for you, Brian. Who else? Dana Matthews. Rat Food. Thanks for being here with us. Your moniker always makes me laugh. It makes me smile. Yes, we're going to have a fun show tonight. What else do we have here? Let's see. Lunar Dove, I think I already brought you up, but yay. If I didn't, hello. Hello, Susan. Always nice to have you here. Susan, of course, being a prior guest and a chapter in my book, Humanoids and High Strangeness. A little shameless plug. Hello, Lynn Smith. I hope you're having a good evening as well. Mark's Shed Talk all the way from Australia. Awesome. Hope you're doing well down under. What else? Or who else do we have here? Real Badger. Thanks for showing up. Terry D. Oh my gosh, it's Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne.
So glad to see you. We're going to get you on the show one way or another, Yvonne. Hello, Christopher. Ruth Kleiber. Thanks for joining us. Terry D, thank you so much. Very generous of you. Okay, I better get started pretty soon here. Hi, Doxy. So happy that you could join us today. Roy Patterson from Mexico. I love how this subject brings people together from all over the world. It's just such a nice feeling. Who else we have? Oh, Insect. I'm not sure I've seen you here before. Thank you very much. Very cool. Zach, Prest and Bennett. I love it. And wait, who's this? Oh, that's Dolly.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, Dolly. And Charlie Newton. All right, you guys, I have to get started. I could say hi to you guys forever, but thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. But let's get to our guest. And she sent me a very impressive bio. I'm going to try to read it, but it's quite long. She's very accomplished. So I might just skip some and get directly to her. But tonight, we are very pleased to welcome experiencer, intuitive researcher, podcaster, and author, Dr. Kelly Renee Schutz. And she is no stranger to experiencing unseen energy and has sensed unexplained paranormal and extraterrestrial phenomena since at least the age of 9, with her abilities beginning much earlier, around age 3 or 4. And get this, she has encountered more than 100 paranormal events and at least 3 to 4 EP visitations, and it's ongoing. She holds 5 advanced degrees, clearly seeking knowledge about what is going on. The author of 11, count them, 11 paranormal books, 2 series haunted cookbooks, CD-audiobook, Maynard and Mildred, and have been featured in Paranormality Magazine, Haunted Magazine, and was actually the cover feature for Paranormal Underground Magazine in the January 2023 issue. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Kelly. That's very cool. Yes, she's a sensitive, intuitive, telepathic, and psychokinetic empath and began having psychic visions and premonitions of traumatic events at age 4, as we shall see. And between age 9 and 17, experienced paranormal activity in her grandparents' home, and by her mid-30s, was psychically attacked, no one's physically attacked by an unseen force in this home. And in her 30s, her enthusiasm for investigating haunted properties became an obsession that unknowingly brought home with her attachments and poltergeist activity. This is something ghost hunters learn sooner or later. It's called the hitchhiker effect. And yes, it is real. But by her 40s, Kelly photographed 2 apparitions, which can be clearly seen in a screened window of her paternal grandparents' home. So we have some photographs she brought, which we'll be showing you, and some really wonderful images that she's provided. From age 40 to 50, increased poltergeist activity and aggressive touching by unseen forces began in and outside of her home. And this took quite a few different types of manifestations. And later, she discovered a dark, bloodred handprint on her body with elongated, crooked fingers. So we'll get into that. Underwent all kinds of interesting experiences with attachment removal and past life regression to determine the causes of all of this. So let's see. What else can I say here? She has accurately predicted sports plays, won jackpots in casinos, has done telekinesis. She's the host and producer of the TV talk show Disembodied Voices, as seen on Paraflix, the video on demand streaming network. He also hosts and produces a highly ranked paranormal show called Paranormal Encounters podcast series, which is heard worldwide on various platforms and on ParaX radio network, which I believe is where I met her. She was exclusively invited as media to interview the entire cast of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Wow, that is an honor. At the PhenomenaCon conference in September 2022, of course, in Utah. Kelly is an educator, a voice actor, a storyteller, a personality interviewer, podcast TV talk show host, producer, photographer, artist, writer, conference speaker, cottage baker, and creator. I'm telling you, this is quite an impressive resume.
Yeah.
Really, it's amazing, Kelly, how much you have done. A former college professor and litigation paralegal with undercover investigations. She remains a lifelong citizen researcher and contributor and learner of life, focusing on the unexplained. Her popular podcast, TV show theme sends a message about delving into the unexplained, which is, quote, be careful what you wish for. It's very good advice, Kelly. She and her husband are the voice actor creators of Maynard and Mildred, a 22-segment audiobook. Kelly, again, is the creator of several cookbooks, including Taste of the Midwest series, Ghoulishly Yummy, and Hauntingly Good Eats. And I actually have one of her books right here. So yeah, definitely lots of books for you guys to check out. But let's just bring her on because I am wasting time when we have such a good guest. Hi, Kelly. Thanks so much.
Nice to meet and see both of you again. And oh, by the way, Preston, you can add one more thing to it. I have just written, and it is published already, a whodunit murder mystery book.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So that one turned everybody on their ear because no one ever expected that to come out of me. So
very cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, let me see.
So what's it titled? What's it called?
Let's see. Oh, Something Smells.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah, it's whodunit mysteries, and believe me, it shocked everybody that I even wrote such a book, including myself. So let's just say I was channeled. Let's just go that route. Somebody put it into my mind and channeled it for me.
Okay, that's awesome.
Very cool. Well, I'm so glad you sent us this little outline that we can kind of follow to explore your experiences. Which was a good idea because you do have a lot to share. And we would be all over the map. And I love that you sent these images as well. So that's always fun. But not everyone I know out there can see, but that's all right. We'll explain everything as best as we can. But I'm glad you started at an early age because this is always how I like to start the show, is asking the guest, how did this all start for you? When did your paranormal experiences begin and how did you get into this? And for you, it began with psychic visions at age 4.
Well, yep. And actually, I had talked with I had a psychic on my show a while back, and we were kind of discussing this a little bit more. And she believes that I actually started or had situations occur to me already at the age of 2. And so my recollection from my perspective is that things were going on around age 3, 4, 5. And it all kind of began with my having dream visions. And I would be dreaming of these terrible things happening, such as airplane crashes or people having assassinations and stuff like that. And then the next day, and I don't know if you've got that picture, but to describe this to everybody, yep, there it is. For those of you who cannot see this right now, I'm going to describe it to you. So imagine a little girl having these dreams at the age of 4 or 5. And then basically going out to your living room, where back in my day, it was a black and white box television. And then all of a sudden seeing the exact same thing that I had just dreamt about on television. Now, this went on for a little bit of a period of time. And eventually I started thinking that I was the one causing these events because it was getting too coincidental. But there's a very important thing that I want you guys to remember as we go through this interview tonight. This situation right here has modeled my life throughout. And as we go through the interview, you'll understand, and I'll try to remember to bring you back to this moment. But that's where it all began.
Wow.
Oh, I'm going to be nosy. How old are you?
Oh, my goodness. Is Dolly, my God, is my not working that well? I am 62.
Okay, I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 65. So
Okay.
I know what you're talking about now. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Frame of reference.
Are you bringing this up because of the box television?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was my life. That's a little box TV, yeah.
Yep.
Black and white.
Right.
Yep. Same TV. Yeah.
Well, I've had a number of precognitive dreams myself, not that early, but I had a big psychic awakening around age 19 or 20 and started having all these precognitive dreams. So I know exactly how it feels when you wake up in the morning and you turn on the TV and you see your dream on TV.
Yeah.
And for me, it often was on TV for some weird reason. I guess I watched too much TV. But sometimes I would go to work and it would be a person's haircut or a gift or someone coming over, or usually tragedies, not
Yeah.
always. So, I mean, how does it feel when you see something that you dreamt about playing out in front of you in reality?
Well, it's kind of weird, and I don't know if you have the ability at this point to jump to a picture that I'm going to describe to you in a second here. But I have had these occurrences go on all my life. And basically, when I hear this stuff come out of the TV, I usually say to my husband, "Oh, isn't that weird? I was just thinking of that." Or, "Isn't that weird? I was just dreaming of that." Or, "Oh, isn't that weird? I just had that exact same thing happen to me." And so I don't know if you would call it a synchronicity or a coincidence or something unusual like that, but I had started to take note on all these little things, and they're still happening to this day. So there is a connection there, and I don't know if electricity or electronics has anything to do with anything, but I'm telling you, there is something with that I'm now starting to make a very subtle connection with. So
I'll give you a heads up. You ready?
yeah, wait. Can I brace myself?
Yes, please. Okay. When
Okay.
you're wide open psychic and you're born that way, which you have, what you've told me, I know you have been. I'm same way. Okay. I hear and feel everything around the entire planet.
Yep.
And when the minds of everybody start to go to something as it's happening, they spread the message so fast. It's instantaneous, like light going around the planet, and it'll slam into me and I'll know what's going on as it's occurring. It's happened to me multiple times. It's not really synchronicity. It's you're wide open in communication with everything and you're hearing it and feeling it at the same time. That's what's happening to you. And it's a bolt when you realize it, because there is nothing that won't affect you, literally. And the more you know that you're doing it, the more it widens you out. So prepare for that. That's what I mean by buckle up, because once you make that connection from the conscious, your consciousness and your physical mind are linked up really, really well, and you've got a wide open circuit between the two, you just hear everything. People from the other side can walk up to you and talk to you, literally talk to you. It's dimensional beings can talk to you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm in constant contact with Talata, my shipmate, okay? And I don't even have to think about it. I just, I think his name and talk to me, and he will come and have a chat with me. It is unbelievable ability. So you need to let somebody hook you up and check your brainwaves. I'm not kidding you. It would be interesting to find out what it is,
Dolly, I've been wanting that actually for years. And I've actually mentioned that for years, it's not right now, but ever since I was 28, because I'm 62, I'm actually very telepathic. And right now I am having a very unusual experience with a gentleman who's 4,000 miles away from me, who is technically my ex-boyfriend from several years ago. And I can literally sense him, feel him. I know when he's thinking about me, and I know all of that. And so I have been welcoming, and if anyone knows anyone that can they refer me to, I honestly, yes, Dolly, I have had, and I can hear things all the time, especially when I go into a casino.
Yeah.
I have one.
I know.
Let's not jump ahead.
Okay, all right, we'll go back.
Just one more thing about this, seeing these events happening on TV. I mean, did you feel like this was something you were causing, or
Yeah, I felt after it was like the third, fourth, or fifth one where I kept saying all the time, even as a little kid, "Well, I'll be darned, look at that. I just dreamt that." But then all of a sudden I thought, oh, wait a minute, I'm probably causing this because it keeps happening.
No, you're hearing it. Yeah. You're absolutely hearing it. Preston can do it too. We'll sit and be watching something on television, and he's like popping what's coming before they even say it. He'll work or I'll do it, or we know answers before they even come in on Jeopardy and stuff. It's like, oh my God.
I can predict sports plays. I predicted the last 3 Kentucky Derby winners. there's lots of things I can do that is like, is that, it's interesting, but yes.
Yeah, I'm really good at awards shows. I
I
can
know.
that's what, for some reason I'm like, this person's gonna win because I can kind of see him celebrating.
Yeah.
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 I don't know what it is. Anything that's connected to you personally. I love animals. I would have a lot of precognitive dreams about animals in distress, or
Yeah.
in
The dog answers him. He'll psychically tell the dog what to do, and
Yeah.
the dog will do it. It's just like, yeah, look, you can do it. Yep.
So that's something that didn't stop at any point. You still have
The other day I had another guest that I interviewed on the show, and we talked about invitation to your awakening, invitation to being awoken. And she said, this was what she said. She said, sometimes you just need to be invited. So I had started to sit and kind of think back, and I thought, yeah, when I think about my life now, and to answer your question, I have been evolving. I feel into many different types of twists and turns for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And it started out very simply. I didn't know if it was spiritual. Then I thought it went to paranormal. Then I think it went now to interdimensional / extraterrestrial. And then I don't really know what I'm going through right now. I'm going through a different phase right now. But to answer your question, yes, it keeps evolving and things are absolutely amazing. So
very
track
cool.
yourself, journal and track it.
Yeah.
Everything that happens. Yep.
Yeah.
You call somebody, tell them, I think this is coming, let's talk about it for 10 minutes. And then if it happens, you have witness, and you journal it, you just keep track of every time you target hit something correctly, because it strengthens your ability when you do that. Because when you know you're doing it, it's like, oh, I'm doing this right. And the same feeling you get with it, you can reapply again and again and again,
Yeah, I've been noticing that for a long time. And there are days, though, when I kind of wanted to just stop and slow down a little bit, because I am also, and people, those of you listening and those of you watching, if you are familiar with the term beacon, I am quite a beacon. No matter where I go, here they are. Doesn't matter where I am, here they come, and they're whispering in my ear. Now, if you said this to a counselor or someone, they'd probably put you on medication. Okay. And it's like, no, I'm not. I know better than to sit there and say that I can hear people in my head, but I can hear something talking to me in my head. And so I have people debating me. Oh, it's your intuition. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. I'm not quite sure. When someone tells you, and I don't want to get ahead here, Preston, because I know you're getting there, but the winning slot machines, I'm sorry, where is that coming from? So,
right.
Frequency, they admit a frequency you get when they're getting ready to deliver, and you just know, you hear it.
I'll tell you what happens. I know it's going to sound crazy, and Preston, I don't want to get ahead because I have a picture that you can show people, but it's what happens is I go into a casino and I just stop for a moment and I say, and my husband will vouch for this, by the way. He watches me in action. He really does. And I said, just give me a minute. And I said, okay, I'm ready to be connected now. And that's what I say. I'm ready to find that winning machine. And so I literally hear, I know it sounds crazy, but this is what happens to me. I literally hear, go forward, go left, go right. No, turn around, go back, and now sit down. This is what I always hear. And if you can imagine someone looking a little nutty, I actually argue with myself sometimes. I'm not sitting there. That's a boring machine. Someone else can play that machine. Sit down. And so it's like, okay, so I sit down. And I kid you not, probably within the first, maybe 50 spins. There we go. That's me, everyone. For those of you who can't see these images, I hope you'll come back and watch this show because I've got a lot of images we're showing tonight. But that's me. And it's just like, there we go. Boom, bingo, done. It's a machine that's not necessarily my favorite. It's just for some reason I'm electronically inclined to, I can open elevators too, by the way, without pressing the button, but that's another segment here. But something with electronics really connects with me. So
It's amazing.
Very interesting.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move to age 9 through 17 in your grandparents' home.
Yep.
Where I think you started to learn you were clairaudient and psychic abilities.
Yep. Yep. So, and I don't know if you can grab that picture of the one
Okay.
in the kitchen.
Yeah. Hang on, give me a
But
second.
yep. So I'll tell it as you go, as you're grabbing it. So I don't know about anyone else out there. Maybe you can relate to this. You go into what you think is a familiar home, a place of love, and all of a sudden you're there by yourself and you feel kind of creeped out. Okay. And you're sitting here going, why am I feeling anxious, stomach aches, stomach jabs? What is going on with me? Okay. Well, I used to have to go to my grandparents' house at a young age after school. And a lot of times they'd be out running errands. So I would try to lay down, take a nap, do something, and turn the TV on just so I could make noise so I didn't have to hear any house quirks or anything like that. There was one time when I thought they came home. So I woke up kind of groggy, and I'm sure most of you can relate to how it feels when you're groggy. And I was walking towards the kitchen because I heard all this commotion going on in there. And I thought, how did I miss this? And so the minute I got to the door frame, which for those of you watching the program, and again, I hope those of you listening will come back and watch this on YouTube. I'm showing it right now. You're standing in the doorway and there's absolutely nobody in the kitchen, and it's gone dead silent. And one of the things that I learned about myself a long time ago was if things sound too dead silent, watch out, because you're not necessarily by yourself. And so I picked that up as a cue of, oh my goodness, what's going on here? Something is crazy. Once again, the sweating, the stomach jabs, everything that goes along with it. And so that's when I started to learn that I was actually clairaudient, which is the ability to hear what most people cannot hear.
Right.
And then my journey started to continue to, like a flower, unfold after that. Can anyone out there relate to what I'm talking about?
I'm absolutely clairaudient as well. I have all of it. Okay. When I say wide open psychic, I got all of the abilities. And one of the worst nights of my life, I used to live in Atlanta, and the North Avenue Church has a shelter. And as a nurse, I would go down there. I volunteered twice a month because they needed a nurse on standby down there. And sometimes I would make dinner too. I'd bring food, and add in. And we were all everybody had bed down for the night. It was very quiet. We went to the room where we all the volunteers sit and drink coffee and try to stay awake for the rest of the night. And all of a sudden, this, what could only be described as hellacious sounds started erupting in the room. And I'm looking at everybody and I'm thinking, do you hear that? And only one of them did. And he looked me dead in the face and said, what is that? And I said, I don't know. So we decided to be logical. We decided to check out the heaters. It was very cold at night. We checked out the air conditioning. We checked out for electrical, everything. I mean, we went all over the place in there looking for where that sound was coming from. And it was only coming from the center of that room. There was nothing above our heads, no below us, nothing. We sat there for an hour listening to it, and I finally had enough.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't care who you are, what you are, why you are. Take it home now.
Yeah.
We don't need this in the room with us. We have people trying to sleep. Stopped. And he went, oh my God. And I didn't go back for like a month after that. I was like, no. This is a church. Something was trying to come in on us, know. And my point is this. When you're wide open psychic like this, sometimes negative things do come at you, and you have to be ready to deal with it. Shut it down, move it out, get away, that kind of thing. That one creeped me completely out. I mean, I heard people screaming and writhing in pain, and it was thousands of them at one time.
I've got one, Dolly. I've got one for you.
Okay.
I've got one for you. So, I mean, I've got hundreds for you, but here's one that will kind of model what you're talking about.
Okay.
So, and Preston, we haven't gotten to the extraterrestrial segments at all yet because we're way beyond that. But there was one time when my husband and I were in our bedroom, and it was probably around 3-ish in the morning, and
Yeah.
I woke up, and most people think you're like lost your complete mind. It sounded like some type of a ship, like back in Star Trek days
Yeah.
when they always, like Captain Kirk, they came off the whatever they're coming off of, and it sounded like there was ship doors, I kid you not, opening up
Yeah.
in my
Wow.
bedroom. And
Wow.
I sat there, and I said, my husband, why does my husband always have to be asleep when all these things are happening to me? I mean, I could be tied up and thrown around the room and having, a ride of my life, and he'll be sitting there, laying there like a little baby. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but yeah, the doors opened up and closed, and I just sat there paralyzed. I just thought, what is in this room? And it was not the heater. It was nothing was on at the time. It was the weirdest sound I ever had. But then we'll get to the segments later where my extraterrestrial life started coming in.
Okay.
But I just wanted to add to that, because if you think you heard things, you're in your bed and you've got a ship door opening up right above your head and you can't see it. So.
Well, I'd love to just pop in a question here from chat, because this
sure.
is something I was actually wondering about, because a lot of psychics have told me, like, this is a constant thing. And Doxy has experienced this, and she's asking, how do we shut it down? Can you turn it off?
Well, there are days that I've actually prayed about turning it off. I actually went to a psychic when I was 24-ish years old, and I said to her this, Preston, I don't know if you have the picture. It's the one with yes.
I got it.
So there you are. So I want to explain a little briefer here for you. I went to her and I said, this is why I went to her, because before I went to her, the second time, I had some really unusual, very strong experiences in terms of people hurting me, abusing me, and I would get very angry and I would hold it inside and I would say, I can't take this anymore. And then all of a sudden, something would happen to these people. All right. I don't want to sound terrible or scary, but I went to this psychic and she says, Kelly, you have a very, very powerful mind. Please be careful about your mind. It is very powerful. I said, I don't understand what you're talking about. I really, really don't. She says, just calm it down and be careful about it. So this is the picture that people are looking at right now. That's not me as a gentleman, but disguised as me, going to the psychic and basically saying, how do I shut it off? And she said, I don't think you can. She meant it to me. I don't think you can. And I've had
shutting it off.
Yeah. But Dolly, what do you think about that? Because honestly, I haven't been able to shut anything down.
I was taught by ET as well as my great grandmother, who was very, very psychic. Mm-hmm. And she basically said 3 things to me, and then I'll tell you what ET said. Mm-hmm. Your mind is yours. You are completely responsible for everything you think and say and do. For every action, there is an equal or opposite reaction. And you have the ability to respond positively or negatively. And it's your response that's the most important thing. You start with your response. And what you do is, and this is where ET comes in, I center my mind, I go very quiet, and then I bring up the brightest, whitest light I've got. I turn my light on, okay? And I remote out all around me so that I can see what it is, okay? And then I put my light on it. In other words, I forcefully intend, and make sure that it sees me and that I see it. And the minute I connect to it like that, it runs like hell. They can't take the light. Your light, everybody has light. We're all made of light, and it will outshine any negative influence or whatever. And then you think in your own mind, get away from me, leave this room, get out now. You are not allowed to be here. I ban you. And that light will get so bright and it goes, get rid of it. And then you turn around and when you bring yourself back to yourself, you say, I now am protected. I am wearing protection. You intend for that protection to be around you. In other words, the light doesn't turn off, and anything that tries to come at you after that is repelled. Okay. But
so that would explain something here to me.
Okay.
And so what that explains is, now keep in mind, I've haunted and I don't know if anyone out there can relate to this. I have haunted 4 homes. All right. And it was finally in my 4th home, because we just moved here to Minnesota, that I had the nastiest poltergeist you can even begin to imagine in this house. It literally tripped me down the stairs twice, trying to, I'm not going to say kill me. It locked me out of the house. It threw things across the room. It was trying to scare me. It was opening up things that were so they were so stuck that you could never open them up physically, and they would blow the doors wide open on those things. And then I finally got so mad, because I was so tired of haunting my homes and having these experiences, and attack me, by the way, Dolly, attack me all the time, that I finally took a stand. And it took me 2 weeks to get whatever it was out of this house. It's been peaceful ever since, but I do have elementals in this house once a while. I do have a lot of intelligent orb activity, which I am firmly aware of. I have things still falling over, which, by the way, something is pushing them over for signs. But the difference in this house was that I finally got so fed up that I said, enough is enough. And that's when my light just blew the house up. So I blew it up.
People sleep with the lights on. They don't realize what they're doing when they're doing it. They just know they're protected in the light.
Yeah.
And they don't associate it with, that's how you push negativity away from you. It isn't light, it's dark.
Yeah.
And you can't handle light being on it. The energy from light is immense, and we all born with it. We're all part of it. We are light. And and that ability is incredible. And that's what.
But one of the things that I do find out once in a while about myself, and I watch this because I have an infrared light in this house because I needed one after a few things went on in here with that stuff, is I know people have the orb theory is basically, oh, it's dust, moisture, this, that. Okay, I'm not talking that stuff. I'm talking intelligent orb activity that is so controlled that it knows exactly what it's doing. And I would have these things literally fly into me. I would watch it on camera, literally, and I could feel a lot of tingling and a lot of this and that in my upper right side of my brain and everything. And it's like, who is in me now? And why are you in me? And get out of me, But it's interesting. I'm not usually pestered too much by this stuff because I know everyone probably has orbs flying around in their homes. It's just a matter of understanding why they're passing through or whatever they're doing. That's at least my understanding. What's your thoughts on that?
Everybody, we live with this everywhere, all over us. Everybody is in the same environment as we are, and we can see it. Not everybody can see them. Some can perceive them. Some are starting to wake up to it, whatever. But you're a dimensional being. We're in the 3rd dimension. There are 12 total, and we're all on top of one another. So just past this dimension, there are beings who are living with us who can see us, but we're not wide open psychic yet, not everybody, and you can't see them. They can see us, but we can't see them. And they appear to us as orbs. Okay. You also have intelligent extraterrestrials who can remote view you at any time, and they do. And I know this because I'm capable of remote viewing like that. And sometimes you'll see a white orb, sometimes it'll be a blue orb. I've even seen orange orbs and red orbs. It just depends on the person and their energy. But we're all checking each other out and talking and communicating.
There are ghosts around us at any given time.
Yeah, your family hangs out with you. Absolutely hangs out with you.
And this is a very common statement from mediums. They never get a break.
Yeah. Yeah, we're swimming in it. You're just not everybody's just perceiving it, and that's a shame.
Right.
But we should.
Well, and especially when I do shows now too. And the last, like I was telling you before we started, 8-9 shows now, I have had stuff come into my room from other people's places that aren't even close by. And I'm talking just as an example here. I talked with the woman who was on, I talked to a lot of television personalities, people that have been on TV. I talked to everybody that you can imagine. Okay. But really the most interesting thing to me is when their issue is coming through my computer and decides to join me on the other side. And so I like, here's an example, so I had talked with this woman. She was on a show called A Haunting. And on the haunting, her thing was about this shape-shifting thing that would always shapeshift into something else, so you could never figure out where the haunted object was. Well, as we were having our show, of course, she goes, I hear something. And she's not kidding. She lives with this every single day. And so while we were going on, she said, I have to go check something out. So she went to the bathroom, and whatever it was, decided to take her makeup case and dump all of her products on the floor. And, that's one. There was a gentleman who had haunted dolls. He was just explaining a haunted doll to me when this orb comes swishing around his head a couple times and goes right back into the haunted doll. And on my end of it, they will even report to me, Kelly, I saw one go in front of you. Kelly, one just went behind you. I know this because I live with this. They want to join me in on my interviews all the time. Yeah. So it's interesting, but I have to preface this a little bit more. Knock on wood. Other than except one situation that happened to me, which I hope we'll talk about at the end. They've been relatively friendly. They're just pests. That's all.
Yeah. One of my best friends in the whole wide world is in the chat tonight. Her name is Yvonne Watson, and she's a paranormal investigator, and she does Reiki and she does healing and stuff like that. And we did Georgia CE5s together. And one night we were doing a CE5 and we're getting all set up, and she's taking all her stuff out of her little wagon that she has. She has me a radiation detector. She hands me an oracle and this stuff. And I won't talk about the radiation detector, but I want to talk about the oracle. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden it starts talking to me. And everybody turns around and looks at me because it's determined to have a conversation. And I said, who are you? And it answered me. It said, Norman. I said, hey, Norman, what are you doing? And he kept going. And Norman was enamored of me, apparently, because Norman went home with me. He followed me home. I had a long way to go. I was in Georgia. I had to go all the way back to Florida. One of the other guys in our group was halfway from me home, so we followed each other. It got into my car and started turning all my lights on, my flashers, my blinkers, my windshield wipers. I had to pull over, and tell him to stop. Stop now. He's back there going, Jesus, what the hell is going on?
Have you ever had two hitchhikers come home with you once, Dolly, where they're sitting in the back seat, you can't see them, you just left an area, you have an hour drive, and all of a sudden you smell two different cigarette smells, two, not one, but two different cigarette smells. And I thought to myself, if they show themselves, and this was about 1 o'clock in the morning, if they show themselves at all to me in the rear view mirror of which I'm looking at, I swear to God, I am going to run off this road. If I run off this road, the road went down into a deep ravine where they would not have been able to find me probably for days.
Yeah, don't let anybody take my attention. My focus is always on what I'm doing. If you're hitchhiking with me like that, you're just going to have to deal with the fact that I'm going to tell you to shut up.
Well, in my case, I rolled down the window. And I kind of did a little sniff to see if it was like I was in the area of like maybe some kind of a factory. And that definitely was not. And so what I did is I just said, get out. And so I would say they left me at about 20 minutes into the ride. But I will tell you that was so weird because I could actually smell the two different kinds of cigarettes. It was very
told me something about yourself. I don't know if you realize it or not. You're not just auditory. You have a smell sense too.
Yes, I do.
Everybody has a different sentience. And I can tell who's visiting me by their smell. Like one of my grandmothers is all lavender. My dad is Old Spice and lemons and limes, and
this is part of what being psychic is. There was a lady I worked with, Claudia was her name. She said, Preston, I can't drive by any car accidents. If someone died, 10 to 1, they're going to hop into my car and follow me home, and you have haunting for 2-3 weeks until you can talk them through it.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go to our next talking point, Kelly, which is you in your early 30s, physically attacked at your grandparents' home in the pink room. And I love these illustrations you have given to us because they really bring another element to it.
Yep. And for those of you who are listening right now and are wondering what I'm showing, it is me looking up a stairway, going up to to the upper floor, but there's a curtain at the top of the stairway that literally closes, and it's very creepy. And so what happened here was that when I was younger, and I had that situation in the kitchen and all that clairaudient, I said, I'm going to go back to this house when I'm older. And I'm going to go in there by myself, and I'm going to prove to myself that what happened to me that day was nothing more than my imagination. And so anyway, that's me. I'm standing right out at the end. I'm looking straight up at the curtain. There's nobody else in the house at the time because both my grandparents had passed. And here I go up the stairs. Well, anyway, I got up there. You know what it is when you take the curtain and you quickly, brush it aside to open it up. Okay, I said, all right, I made it this far. So then I kept going into the pink room. Well, what happened was very unique and very, very odd. I'm sitting on the bed in the pink room. I'm looking in a box of some of my grandparents' stuff. And what happened is all of a sudden was really weird. I started to feel dizzy. I started to feel faint. I started to feel sick to my stomach. I was getting jabs in my stomach. Then I felt something, I smelled something really rotten, like a rotting, like a mouse or an animal or something in that room. And I thought and I was just getting really kind of disoriented. And now most people would say right now, are you sure that since no one's been in the house that maybe there wasn't some kind of a leak or something that was causing you to become physically ill? No, there wasn't, because we had it checked out after I ran out of the house, literally with my hair on fire, after that experience, and everything checked out fine. But one of the things that was very interesting up in that room, and I'd like to share this with everybody, is that the curtain had a fire singe on the bottom of it that looked like something patted it out. And what's really interesting about that is that an electrical strike or lightning bolt hit the house apparently at some point, set the curtain on fire. Something patted it out. Now, why is this interesting? Because I went and did some research and found that the house, just before it was rebuilt a little bit, had a fire in the kitchen. And the fire in the kitchen killed the owner who was there at the time. And for some reason, I believe to this day, as God is my witness, that what was remained in that house was, I'm just guessing, speculating, was the owner that died in that fire. And for some reason, I felt she hung out upstairs, which I believe she did, but my presence wasn't welcomed. And so she was basically saying to me, get out. And so when I went through all of those sensations and feelings and sickness, I wanted to hurl and everything, I literally jumped down from that stairwell 5 stairs at a time just to get out of that house as fast as I could. And I did not go back since. So, well, I did for with family members, but not by myself.
Have you tried to learn how to clear an area? In other words, Michelle is really good at it. Michelle is like exceptional. Okay.
Well, as long as it doesn't involve saging, because the thing is, I'm allergic to everything.
No. You ought to talk to her about it. I'm not kidding you. She could probably help you with that, learning how to clear, because that's one of the tools in your toolkit that you need to have. When you're psychic, you need to be able to tell anything that's going to bother you like that. Look, you're putting up with me for now. Just stay back. I'll offer you a ride to the other side if that's what you want. But for right now, I'm in control of the situation, not you. Just come along for the ride or stand back, get away from it. And there's ways to do that. And you have to exert your ability over it, because it's going to force, it's funny too, because a lot of energy, from people who have passed or whatever, and they're hanging out with us, they seek our energy anyway. They come at us like, ooh, it's almost food to them. Okay. And then they try to overtake you for it. And fear is one way to feed a negative entity in anyway.
That's
so you
correct.
learn how to turn that around and not let fear encompass you or make you run. You need to learn how to push it back. So ask Michelle. She can teach you. Yeah.
Well, I like your next talking point, because this was something I did after learning about ghosts. I'm like, you know what? I need to start going to some haunted locations. You talk about in your 30s going to haunted bed and breakfasts. purposefully. I went to the Queen Mary, had experiences there, and a number of haunted. What do you call them? I don't missions. That's
Missions.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yep.
here we've got a little illustration that you provided.
Yep. Okay. Now this one is for this illustration here. This one, I'm going to jump back and then I'm going to jump to this illustration. So
All right.
for those listening, at least they can kind of, then we can go to that one in a second. So yes, how I managed to go to those bed and breakfasts was because I always was intrigued about wanting to have an experience with an apparition or a ghost. And so on my grandparents' property, and you'll show that one in just a moment as we get there, I had always wished. That's why I say be careful what you wish for, because if you manifest that at just the right time, you're going to get your wish. All right. So I was about 14 years old when I had started wishing to see a ghost and all that sort of thing. And then when I started having these experiences, I thought, especially the telepathic one, then I thought, you know what? I've got some abilities here. I want to test this out. So we went to this bed and breakfast, this first one at Litchfield Plantation. Now that picture that you have there isn't that per se. This is a picture where something is being hidden on me, which will come a little bit later. I may not even have a picture of what I'm referring to here. But what happened to me there is one of the things my husband said, who didn't believe in this, was we went into this haunted property, and he makes the announcement, "Bring it on, ghosts." And I said, "Don't do that."
No.
I know. And I said, "Don't do that, because if you do that, then they're all going to come at me and I'm never going to be able to handle myself tonight." Well, that place was my first real place where I had so many experiences. Do you have the picture? You should. Preston, look for the picture with the one with the sparks flying out of the television, and there's a rubber ducky that's literally sitting on the ledge. Go through them a little bit. You'll find it.
All right.
You'll find it. It has sparks flying out. We're laying in bed.
Let's see it.
Yeah. So put that up. There it is. All right. This is Litchfield Plantation. And so everything happened to us there, from hearing the footsteps. We were in a villa by ourselves. And so I thought other people were coming in to join us because, more people could go into the villa. And it wasn't. It was us that night. And so what happened was I heard footsteps. I thought it was my husband. Nope. Wasn't footsteps of him. It was something else. We were separated at one point. And basically, in a nutshell, I went to the bedroom and he was outside, and I shut the door, and the door did not have a lock on it, but he could not get into the room. This was my indication number 2, which was, oh my God, what's happening here? It was not a stuck door. It was like proving to him, oh, bring it on. I'll be happy to bring it on for you. And so the door was stuck. He couldn't get in. I couldn't get him in. And I started panicking on the inside of the room because I thought something was going to hurt me. That night, my makeup products, sounds of them, were being dropped onto the floor, but they never got dropped onto the floor. The rubber ducky, for those of you, there's a rubber ducky in this picture. This rubber ducky was moved from one side of the room to the other side of the room, but the clicker was when we were laying in bed and I was laying there trying to sleep, and all of a sudden he says, "What the blank?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "This TV just blew sparks out at me." And so, but it's not sparks from a dysfunctional TV. It was sparks from something else shooting out right at him. Huh. Anyway, it was a really active room and property, but I started going to many bed and breakfasts, and eventually we'll get to that cycling mirror, unless that one's coming up. That was my most terrifying situation that made me stop ghost searching for a long time. But yes, but do you know what happened after that? I started bringing stuff home with me. I started haunting my homes and my houses and thinking, oh, do you remember the movie or the show, The Ghost and Mrs. Muir?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, sure.
I was in my bedroom putting some artwork together because I'm an artist in an artist shop. And I turned on my ghost talker, okay? And it started commenting, "Oh, nice artwork, like that, very pretty." And so I said, "Oh my God, I've got a friendly ghost in my house who wants to live with us. And I didn't think anything of it at first. I thought, you're more than welcome to stay as long as you behave yourself. Wrong. I do not know what happened there, but that house became so active. And it was at the point, Preston, do you have the picture of me being choked? Can you see that where I'm laying in bed and you can see it like the same image that's behind my head here? You'll see it right behind one of my head over here.
Give me
Yep.
it was. I'll find it.
It was the point where one night this ghost liked to sleep or whatever it was between my husband and myself. And so basically what happened there was that this nice ghost that I thought was in my house either attracted something else in there or it turned against me. And I started having choking episodes where I couldn't breathe. No, not sleep apnea. I know people are thinking, oh, it was that. Nope. It was like, have you ever heard of something scream in your ear before? Like a hag sound, like a witch sound? I was getting witch haggy sounds being screamed into my ear. And then the next night I would be choked to the point where I couldn't get its hands off the grip of my neck. And so that's when I decided it was time to move. And so I learned from all of my travels and everything. I didn't know at the time. Most people do not. They go in, they have these experiences and they don't, even if you tell them, stay home, I don't want you coming home with me, they come home with me anyway. And maybe we'll get to that point where I had 16 attachments taken off of me after. Oh yeah. And that experience in and of itself, by the way, is enough to make somebody sit down. So
Question ID.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll take our quick station break right now. Thank you, Dolly. I remember, just so you know. But yeah, thank you, everyone. You are watching The Lightgate. I'm Preston Dennett, your host, and my lovely co-host is Dolly Safran. Our guest tonight is the amazing Dr. Kelly Renee Schutz, author of many books. I have one right here. The links are in the show notes as well if you'd like to learn more about her. We are streaming live on United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in the beautiful city of New Orleans, and also on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3. We're on several other platforms such as YouTube and Facebook and Roku. And we are having fun with our guest tonight who has so many experiences and so many books you should check out. We'll definitely give you a chance, Kelly, to promote them towards the end of the show. But yeah, sorry to interrupt. Thank you, Dolly, for the reminder, because we do absolutely love our producers and welcome the opportunity that they're giving us to stream our show. Yeah. So you were talking, I keep looking at this picture that you were able to take of a ghost. I'm itching to get to it. Oh,
are you talking about the one in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that's a little bit autumn colored.
Yeah.
You'll see
it. I'll pull that up right now.
Pull that up and I'll explain. There you go. Now, for those of you who are listening, please go to the YouTube show. I'm showing all these pictures. Nope, you had it. Bring it back there a second ago. There you go. Right there. There. Perfect. Love you. Yeah, what you're looking at, for those of you who are watching this show and those of you who are yet to watch this show, remember when I said I wanted to see a ghost at the age of 14? This is the same property that this occurred on. And what happened here is that one day a straight line wind tornado ripped through this property, did not affect the house, knocked over a 200-year-old tree. And I was there by myself just checking out to make sure that the property was okay. And so in a nutshell, I had a regular camera with film and I was taking all angles of, can you see the image? If you can, let Dolly impress. There you go. Right there. Stop right there. Right. Stop there. And so I was just shooting pictures, and what you're looking at right here, that's a screen window. That's not a plate window. Most people say, are you face matrixing? Most people will say, is it tree limbs? I had put this through 100 filters. This is when I got my first laptop, by the way, because I needed to blow this baby up and take a look. What happened was I went to a store, had my film developed, and I said, how did that ball get into the corner of that window there? That's very strange. I don't remember that. And then my sister said, ball, and she says, what's that standing above it? And if you see what, I hope y'all can see this very well, that is actually a little girl.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it's an old man standing over looking down.
That's correct.
Yep.
And so this is when I learned I was telepathic, because I stood out after that was developed. I believe that to be my great grandfather who built the home. About 120 years ago. It has now been burnt down. And the little girl there, I thought it was someone else at first, but it turned out, this is how I learned of this. I was standing out on the lawn and I said, this was after I realized that there was people staring at me through the window. And I said, do you have a message for me? And this is when I learned I was absolutely telepathic. And what came to me was this: the genealogy is wrong. My name is wrong. My name is Mary. My name is not Lily. My name is Mary. Mary. And I thought, and so then I did my research, and sure enough, if I was able to match her face, and I don't have it, Preston doesn't have the face so you could see it tonight, but I was able to match her face with the face of the girl in this picture I thought was Lily. And then the gentleman above her is either my great-grandfather, which I believe is traveling with her. But here's the interesting part.
It's an older woman behind the little girl between.
Everybody has said that, and I can't see her.
I can plainly see her.
Oh, you mean right here? Oh, of course, you can't see me point.
Yeah.
Are you talking like right behind?
Like where the sill, not the sill, but the side.
There.
No, go down over here. No, it's right to the side. She's peeking next to his face. You can see her. I'm not kidding.
So here's the
wait a minute. Can I do it? No, Preston. Use your thing.
Well, I'm trying, but I don't. Okay. I see this face right here.
Yeah,
okay, and then the one above it.
Yeah.
And then the one between them near the side of the window there. You can see
this
half
side?
the face.
Yep.
This. Yeah, see half
there. All right, here's the interesting story about this. Now I want everyone to pay attention, because I know that Dolly and Preston are probably going to agree with me on this. The little girl in the window actually passed away 2 miles down the road in house number 1. She was sick at the age of 10. She looks like she's about age 6 to 7 in this picture. The older man, he passed away on the property / in a hospital of pneumonia. Her name's Mary. This is Mary. And Mary, who died 2 miles down the road, when they first immigrated by boat to the United States, as he grew older, of course, and got married, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, in a nutshell, they rented these 2 homes a 1.5 miles to 2 miles away. What's important about this is that just because somebody dies somewhere else doesn't mean they can't come and haunt your home.
No, of course not. You didn't go anywhere. The woman's name is Lily May. Lily May.
Well, Lily is the girl who died, who died at the age of actually 10 to 12.
That would be her. Lily May. Yeah.
But, that's very interesting. So Lily and Mary are together?
Yes. Yep.
And she was adopted, by the way, everybody. Yeah, she was adopted from a situation where they couldn't afford to take care of her anymore. And it was really bad times. And so my great-grandfather adopted this girl, and then she passed away, actually. She passed away there. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have the bed in my house where they either passed away, she either passed away in, or my great-grandmother, who was this grandfather's wife, she definitely passed away. But I haven't really, it's really interesting. But this family has quite an interesting history. In fact, just to throw in a side note, Jesse James' gang actually stopped on this property 3 days. 3 days before they were shot. From this whole Jesse James thing, whatever going on. And they're very polite, by the way, and they just asked for water for their horses and water for themselves, and then they went on their way. And so, there's a history to this property. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We're getting all kinds of wonderful comments in chat. So
Oh, thank you.
people are loving it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Doxy.
Oh,
Okay, now I want to bring up the next talking point that you sent, which is about your great-grandfather and aunt, where you learned about telepathy or being telepathic.
that was the situation right here where I was out on the lawn. And I said, "What message do you have for me?" And they said, once again, that was that house situation, Preston, where
Oh.
we just got out that, where they
Oh.
told me that the name was
Okay.
wrong in the genealogy.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Go to the next talking point.
All right, let's see here. You haunted 3 homes and had lots of poltergeist activity. Was this me? Yeah, we've touched on this quite a bit. That's really interesting because poltergeist's activity is coming from the individual to a certain extent.
So I'm gonna grab off. Okay, go to the next page here. Did you see the woman with the I want to bring up an interesting story. Go to the one where you had up before with me looking down there, pointing down at that chair. You had it up before. I want to give you the story of that.
Oh, here it is. I got it. Boink.
That's it. All right. So here I am haunting all these homes, right? Well, things are now going, disappearing on me. They're being hidden from me. But here's the most interesting story of all. So many things that happened in this house. That's me going, how on earth did that get down there? I didn't put that there because I was looking for my purse. I had to run out, and all of a sudden it went gone missing. Any of you out there have had an experience where things have gone missing and then come back? All right. So what's really interesting, though, is that when my husband found this, I said, I told you this house was haunted, and we had so many experiences. So what he did is he made another smart act comment. And I said, don't do that. You're going to make them upset. So what happened because of this situation? You know those little fruit cups that have that plastic liner on top of them?
Yeah.
All right. So and again, I'm meticulous and perfectionistic. So nothing that's destroyed or disrupted is going to get into my refrigerator. He grabs the cup. He puts it in his lunch bag. He goes to work. And so what happens at work, he gets to work and he finds out that the fruit cup has a slice, like something took a knife and slit over the top of it, and it dumped out the contents of the fruit cup inside his lunch bag. And so he comes home and he goes, I don't know how that happened. I said, you know as well as I do, those fruit cups never had anything wrong with them at all. And I said, because you made them mad, they're just now getting a little revenge on you. I said, you got to watch out what you say around here. So, of course, he gives them a timeout for 75 years in the corner by our fireplace. I said, that's going to keep them there, But these entities loved me so much that they would do all kinds of things in that house. Once again, I'm haunting another house, and I'm bringing in my beaconess is bringing them in from everywhere, and I've had them talk to me. So that was just kind of the story of that. But go to the next page. Where do you want me to kind of tell people a little bit? I want to share with people some of the things I've gotten through. Just here you go. Hang on for the ride here. Movement of objects like clock dials, elevator doors opening up, keys moving and locking myself out of the house, etc., etc. Hiding of personal objects, breaking of objects, slicing the fruit cup, choked in bed, screaming in my ear, put in trances. Now that one was fun. Trickster luring. If anyone's ever been trickster lured before, it's where something's making a sound, wanting you to get up and then go investigate what you're hearing. My stuck wardrobes that I would have to pry open with something else fly open. Aggressive touching. Not to be graphic, but I was butt swiped in that house that you just saw the picture of. I was casually sleeping and something so rudely touched my bum. All right. Possessions kicked up into the air. That happened at another bed and breakfast. I've been called on the telephone, by the way. And also then my college classroom started to get haunted. And so if you think that was interesting, have a bunch of students sitting out there and you're pretending like, oh, I'll get that fixed. And you know that something's playing with your equipment. Anyone here ever have buzzing in your ear? And it sounds like a bee.
Yep.
zzz, buzzing in your ear, and you get kind of dizzy for the moment.
Yep.
And I've had backpacks catapult literally off their benches and everything. And then, of course, orbs that erased my footage, made me sick. That was that one picture you had up with me with those 3
Okay, so
orbs.
I got homework for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, do I have to write it down? Because I'm
Yeah, you
terrible.
write this down.
This is a good one.
You need a daily
Yeah, go
notebook that you write in. Use a pencil because pens don't always work. Anything paranormal going on, especially the buzzing in the ear and poltergeist activity, write it down. Write what time it went down. Write down what you were feeling when it happened. Write down just before it happened what was going on. Notice everything because you need to be able to tell the difference between you and something going on around you. Because I'm telling you, it took me many years to learn to stop it. Okay. I am extra energetic. And when I get emotional, when I get mad, when I get upset, stuff happens. And I have complete control over it. Sometimes it happens without me wanting to. Sometimes it happens when I want it to. But I am the poltergeist. Okay. Now, there are instances when you said something touched you in the bum.
Yep.
That wasn't you.
I know that.
But you figure out intent. That's not acceptable behavior, even from.
That's what I said.
Yeah, and
that's what I said out loud. That was not nice. You woke me up, and that was off limits.
Set the cage out and say off limits. I will send you packing. Leave me alone.
I had that happen actually. Once I woke up because someone was touching me where they shouldn't be touching me. It wasn't on the bum.
Oh my goodness.
And I woke up and I could still feel it.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm looking down and I'm like, well, what the heck?
Yeah, I know.
That's probably would have scared the pants off of anybody, but you know what? It was just a spirit. They don't really scare me for some reason.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. This would freak anybody else out. Stop doing this. Who's ever doing this? Because you could feel it.
Oh, yeah. I could feel it when I was laying there. I was in a nice, peaceful sleep. And it was like something sweat. I can't help it. My bum was sticking out of the whatever, and then it would look tempting. Well, you know what? Take your temptation.
No, not allowed. But yeah, when you're wide open psychic, it's like being 2 years old. If you've got abilities, you're going to use them. Whether you realize you're doing it. It's like a kid trying to walk. He's going to fall down about 50 times before he gets up on his feet, but he's going to keep trying. And it's mental as well as a physical desire to do so. Well, you got abilities, okay? And what happens is you get bored or things are going on and you got emotions going on and you're thinking things. And the next thing you know, boom, I've slammed cabinets more times than I can tell you. I can turn the TV on and off. I can move objects. I can do all kinds of crazy things. And it's me. I'm no longer surprised when things start popping off in the house because it's me. And I have to stop it. I have to calm down, take stock of myself. I make notes of it. It's like, okay, today I did this, this, and this. And I try to only use my abilities when I want to. In other words, it doesn't do you any good to have uncontrolled abilities. It does you a world of good to have control,
All right, so let me just jump right on in here and ask you a question because this will be interesting to some of you. Explain to me if you can. So this is the same house. Yeah. I know that I have a couple of, I'm going to explain who I think was cutting open the fruit cups and everything across the road. Now, I didn't know when we moved there. I had no idea. I found this out from a gentleman who cleaned our fireplace. Apparently across the road, back in the Civil War day, there was a husband who literally killed his wife and 3 children. I did not know this when I moved into that house, which was actually right across the road from it. I sensed that I was bringing into that house maybe the kids or something. But what I found really, really kind of amazing about this, and I'm going to ask you this question now. Can you explain to me why my clock dials would always advance ahead by 6 hours? And I'm gonna go on one more step here for you, Dolly, just to turn it up a notch, okay? So I'm noticing that I have this clock, And this clock is when I have activity going on, I notice that the key in the door will turn to a locked position. I notice that the clock dials are advancing by 6 hours ahead. But what was really creepy to me was when my husband and I went on a trip. We were 1,500 miles away. I left the house. Everything was as it should have been. And for some reason, all I thought about was the clock in my our master bedroom. And when we got home, it was also 6 hours ahead. So now am I telekinetic, psychokinetic, the whole 10 yards, right?
No, you're doing it. You're doing it. It's you. I want to tell you something. I want to ask you a question. I want everybody to hear what I say. Okay. This bothers me a lot, and I'm going to bring it up now. It's a perfect time. When you go into a haunting, and it's a place where they want it to stay haunted, so you're going to go in and experience it. Okay, that's one thing. But when you have in your own personal space a haunting occurring, the idea here is not to allow it to continue. That's your space now. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to you. And one of the things that you can do is clear it, get them out, send them packing. You can either send them to the next realm where they need to go. You can walk them out, talk them out, whatever it takes. You can go OBE and take them by the hand and take them to move them on. But don't let them live in your space. Most people don't realize that they have control over that. It's your house now. It doesn't belong to them anymore, and they have to go quiet. In other words, no more influencing, because you're not living my life for me. I'm living my life for me. And most people don't realize that they have the ability to do that, and they should. I've gone so far as to say this, the Amityville horror, they should have burnt that house straight to the ground. They should have had it cleared, completely cleared. They should have had every psychic in the area go up to it and take those, whatever was in it, out and get it gone. Because we're not here to work on what your issues were in your time. We're here to work on our issues. And if you're bugging us, you need to get out. Okay. That's something we shouldn't be tolerating at all, because it's a fear thing. People like to play with fear, and it's dangerous. And you don't tell your kid, go play with fire in the street while the traffic's going. Okay. Don't live in a house that's haunted. Clear it. Get them out. Okay. Tell them to move on. Walk them out. And if you can't do it, get somebody who can. See what I'm saying? We live in a world that has magnified this to the point that it's everywhere, all over the place, almost all the time. And look, it's causing problems. Trust me, that kind of energy influence is affecting the minds of the people. We got anarchy going on around us. Everything's going crazy. And part of it is our tolerance for things that are not positive. It's more toward the negative, and people need to start thinking that, get it out now. If you want to change, that's where you start.
One of the things that has always been, when I talk to some of the guests also on my show about this, they get very hesitant when they come to the realization that maybe possibly their grandmother, their mother, their deceased father they're living in that house with them. So the one thing that always to me is like this: nope, assume it is not your grandmother, assume it's not your father, assume it's not your deceased whomever or whatever, because chances are likely, from at least what I understand in talking to a number of people, even if that were the case and you love them dearly, the other thing is they can also be a beacon and draw in some of these other energies. Like in my case, thinking I had a friendly ghost who just loved my artwork. And all of a sudden I'm finding myself being choked to death and strangled in bed with something screaming in my ear as if there's no tomorrow.
Yes.
My attitude with it now, when I have things going on, it's kind of different because I've been down this road so much a little bit. The thing that really drove it out of me was that cycling mirror. And I don't know if we're at that point yet, which we'll show them in a minute. But the thing is if you want to talk about terror, that then once you hit your terror point, the point where you get the most scared doing your ghost searching, then if you don't have the thought of, I think I should give this up for a while, then I don't know. But I've changed my attitude to kind of like this. Oh, you want to throw that across the room? Good one. and I just try to not react in fear to anything anymore. And I just find that things calm down
Paranoid
a
from it.
little bit.
Yeah, just it all goes back to what you said earlier, and I'm gonna bring it up. Be
Yeah.
careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
You get it.
Preston, put up that picture next of the cycling mirror. I think this is perfect for that, because this all kind of leads right into this a little bit.
Okay.
This is my most terrifying, absolute terrifying, haunted bed and breakfast / in Shrewsbury, United Kingdom, when I started going over to see if their hauntings were any different than the hauntings over in the United States.
This is the one with the handprint on the mirror?
The one in the bed. No, you'll see us in bed, and you'll see a mirror to the right-hand side that looks like it's kind of cycling, and it's got it says cycling around. You'll see it. It was right after
see it.
Yeah, see it? Put that one up. I was also the one that he put up before, where I was kicked up in the air. That might be actually a good segue into the extraterrestrial discussion, because I am on the fence now about when I was kicked up in the air, whether or not I was, or whether I was dropped. But I want to talk about this picture for a moment here. For those of you who cannot see this picture, I am in a very, very extremely haunted 12 plus apparition bed and breakfast over in Shrewsbury, United Kingdom, called the Prince Rupert Hotel.
Oh, wow.
And I went in there saying, I want the most haunted room you can give me. They said, I will not put you in that. I will put you in the second most haunted room. And boy, did I ask for it. So basically the number one thing that happened in here, that's me with the black mask over my eyes. And you'll see the cycling mirror to the side. What happened was a lot of things were happening in there. There are handprints on the pillow. There are things burnt out. The maintenance guy wouldn't even be allowed to come in there. I had to give them my key to get in there. You have to ask permission to get in there. The ghosts have to literally allow you to come into the room. I offered up champagne and chocolates when we first got in there. It didn't work. Or maybe it did. Maybe they thought they would just do the subtle technique on me, which was scare me to my death. But anyway, so what happened here was my husband and I were ready to go to bed. He took the holy water out and he threw the holy water. And as he threw the holy water, you'll see that mirror to the right-hand side. It went, na, 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 and I kid you not. And it looked, I was looking right at it, and it started cycling and cycling. And I went like white as a ghost. I could hardly believe my eyes. He froze in place. He froze as if you're like throwing something and the water's frozen in place. Everything froze in time. And then the minute that thing started cycling, he finally came out of it, turned and looked at me, and he said, "What's wrong with you? You look like you're as white as a ghost." I said, "Look at the mirror." And it was literally on its, like on its belly, that's where it stopped, on its belly. And I was absolutely insanely just terrified out of my mind. He went to sleep. Can you believe it, right? And Kelly's laying there going, I'm begging the ghost to please don't hurt me. I felt its cold presence literally lay on top of me. I felt it sit on my legs. It was on top of me. It actually cooled me down because I was in such a panic attack that I was burning up. And anyone who's had a panic attack and you feel that heat, oh my God, I welcomed it at the time. But I'm telling you that after that, I gave my story to the manager. She brought me back up there. I'm going to give you a real humorous, quickie story here. I went down the next day. I looked like a train ran over me. I got no sleep. The wardrobe was actually opened. Okay, so now the wardrobe also opened up. All right, go down. Manager says, can we go back up in that room? I have to show you something. I said, I do not want to go back up in that room. Thank you so much for putting me in a haunted room, but I'm out of here. She said, please come back up. Okay, so we go back up to the room, knock on the door, ask for permission to come in. Can we come in? Blah, blah, blah. All right, we get to come in. She brings me over to the mirror. She goes, you know what? Every time my staff member bends over to vacuum the floor, it lifts the bottom of its mirror and it smacks her in the butt. I said, oh, it's got a sense of humor, I see. I said, what you should do is take that thing out to the alleyway and show it who's boss. Anyway, what I'm saying is that whatever is influencing that mirror in any respect, it even has a sense of humor and is a little bit fresh by hitting its staff in the rear ends for a practical joke. But that's what happened with that mirror. But
Yvonne, My friend Yvonne's on there saying, mirrors are portals. You got a
I
lot
know that.
in that room.
I know
And
that. Yeah.
one of the things that I learned about mirrors is they're false light.
Yeah.
They can reflect light, but they aren't light on the inside of them. It's false light, and entities like to, hang around them because of that. It's a safe spot for them to stand, be, or
There
use.
were there were 4 mirrors placed. There were 4 mirrors in that room. They were all
Mhm.
facing each other. If I did not have a portal in the middle of that room by the time it was all said and done, that in and of itself created one. Preston, can you put up that picture where I'm being kicked up in the air? That was the one that you had just before that one.
All right.
You'll see it.
I see it. Just one second. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, and then we can get into some extraterrestrial stuff here.
Yeah, I've got some questions I definitely want to
Oh, yeah,
chat with
yeah.
when we get a chance.
All right. So this is where we're going to kind of go and lean in from. Was it paranormal, or was it something extraterrestrial? So I want to explain this one briefly. Groveland Hotel, just outside of Yosemite National Park. Have any of you ever been there, or have you ever been to Yosemite National Park? Okay, so it's just outside of it. And so we went there because Lyle, who is a known resident ghost, was supposed to be in this particular room down the hallway. Well, we didn't get into that room. We got into the room down the hallway, which was another one, which word had it that it was there was an angry miner in there who liked to steal remotes and socks and all this stuff and hide them under the bed. All right. So of course, husband, I told husband, do not, whatever you do, don't taunt the ghost in this room when we go in there. All right. Long story short, yeah, you know how that went. He's sleeping once again, right? I'm sitting here flying around the room and the guy is sitting there sleeping on me. All right. So it was probably about, what do I have there? 1:30, about 2:30-ish, maybe in the morning, where I found myself, I felt something underneath my back. And I was catapulted up into the air, probably I felt like more, but it was probably a good foot or so. And I woke up bouncing on the bed. And I thought, well, what's going on here? And all that, because I felt something definitely woo, and then boom, and da 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 da. And I was touching my husband. I said, hey, did you feel that? And of course I couldn't get him to wake up. I just couldn't. And so I was absolutely stunned by the fact that, because I'm a larger woman, that something could actually literally levitate me and catapult me way up to the point where I actually could feel myself bouncing. So then I was talking to a guest on one of my shows, and he said to me, and that's when my thinking started to change a little bit. He said, "Are you sure you were catapulted up in the air, or are you positive that maybe something dropped you from the air?" Because as you see in the background on this picture, full moon, clear sky, nice crisp evening, nice bright stars, and the whole 10 yards. What was really humorous is the next morning when we were leaving, this couple came in and they thought they'd be sarcastic. "We'd like to stay in the haunted room, please." So I looked at them, and I looked like a train ran over me all over again, And I said, "Would you like to stay in our room? I was kicked up in the air last night and bouncing on the bed. Have a nice stay." And I turned around to my husband and walked out the door. And they just kind of stood there. But I thought, I'm going to put them in their place. So that brought me to the new theory or of thinking, maybe I wasn't kicked up in the air by something. Maybe I couldn't get past the ceiling and I dropped down onto the bed. I don't know. It just brings it into a neat theory about wondering what is paranormal and what is extraterrestrial / other types of activity.
Yeah,
What
it's
are your
not always
thoughts?
easy to tell.
If it was ET, you'd know it. There would be no doubt in your mind. You're psychic enough, you would have known. You'd have heard
Yeah.
it, saw it, everything. Yeah.
It was the foot that I felt under my back.
It's possible that he levitated you up somehow, pushed you up.
Well, and
Yeah.
I forgot to add one more thing. I was snoring like a freight train. And apparently whatever's in there didn't like snoring. I was keeping it awake. And instead of stuffing one of its socks that it would steal and put under the bed that people would never know where their socks were, instead of stuffing it in my mouth, that he decided just to teach me a lesson.
Yeah.
It was an interesting room, though. And that experience in and of itself taught me a little bit about how it doesn't matter how big you are. If it's mad enough or whatever, it does have the energy and the ability to be able to do something with you. You know, you've heard of these people all the time. You've seen them where they get slung up against the wall or whatever. We don't know. I just know he was irritated. Probably that was it. So,
Well, I know you've got some more stuff to cover, but I want to bring in a few questions
sure.
before it gets too late and
yeah.
we don't get a chance to answer them. But here is one from Valerian the Mac the Third. He's asking, can you levitate? And he follows that up with tap into other dimensions. Dolly's had some levitation experiences, and I know you had another one that you talk about in one of your later talking points. But is this something you can control at all?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I don't know. For myself, I can't make myself levitate. It seems like something is within me causing me to levitate. And when we get closer to the end, I will talk and share with you about my experience when I was in a movie theater watching The Pope's Exorcist towards the end, where I was literally levitating out of my chair, and my husband was sitting right next to me, not even paying attention once again. But anyway, that's husbands for you. Anyway.
All right. Well, here's a question which I've been wanting to bring up for a while. This is from Yvonne, and it's a great question. And I wonder about this. She's asking, you are so open, and boy, you are, Kelly. Have you ever had a spirit try to jump into your body?
All right, Yvonne, sit back. Here we go. I'm taking you for a ride. All right, here we go, Yvonne. So here's my most recent one. About a year ago, approximately, husband and I were on a trip. We were up in Wyoming. We stopped at a tourist trap. There was a old-fashioned haunted jail. Okay, haunted jail there. We were the only ones on the property at the time. All right. And so what happened was this. Husband is running around. He was actually taking some really, really cool, interesting outdoor orb pictures, which was like, they weren't like your sun glares or anything like that. I went into this haunted jail by myself, little dark, whatever. So I took out my camera and I said, if anyone's in here at the time, would you please show yourself? So I turned it so I could have kind of a light shine so I could see a little bit better. And I noticed that, and once again, I've seen these orbs before in another picture that I can't remember. You showed briefly and we never really talked about it. But and I saw two flying around. And so at first people are going to say, oh, it was a bug, it was a fly, it was a bee. No, it was a mass. And so anyway, said, if you're real, would you go and stand back by that wall for me, please? And sure enough, I've got photographs of this, by the way, but I don't have anything to show you per se. Keep that there, Preston. Keep that picture there. And so, what happened was this. I shot my photograph. I said, thank you. And I said, by the way, you can leave anytime you want to, right? We went back to our cabin after that experience. And as soon as we got into the cabin, I said to my husband, I need to make a phone call. We're in a really small, tiny little town. I need to make a phone call to the manager here. This is very, very, very important. He goes, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? It's very, very important. And so I called up the manager and I said, can you tell me where the nearest bar is in this town? Something with really hard alcohol, something that is just like really, really strong. I need a drink and I need it now. Now, I need to preface something. I don't drink, and I don't drink strong alcohol. And the thing is whatever it was came back with me, and all of a sudden was very thirsty and needed a bar. But when you ask if I've ever had anything take possession of me or come inside me, we also have Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum. I was attacked in there. I shut it down for 8 minutes. I scared everybody to death around me, including the performers. I literally had something inside of me that wouldn't get out for 8 minutes. And what it looked like to me was it looked like everyone was shadowy and it sounded like everyone was talking through a drum. And it was very bizarre and stuff. But after we finally left that situation, I won $3,000 in the casino because I was so activated that, I could have won everything that night. But yes, I have had things not only take possession of me, but also take possession of my husband. And I can recognize that. So,
Yeah, I once did a haunting investigation with two ladies in a haunted apartment in Van Nuys who were dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
And their own pets wouldn't recognize them or start barking at them. So, yeah, and people would say, gosh, people would not recognize them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the other thing that I don't know if when you say recognize, I said to my husband this, how did my face look? Did I look like some old guy that was tired of sitting in a jail forever and just, kind of like needed just a drink so badly, that was really creepy, but it was also very interesting because I never thought in a million years I would ever want to call a manager to find out where the hardest liquor was in town. And I don't drink hard liquor at all. It was just very interesting. So,
well, maybe a coincidence, but the image on the screen right now is kind of blurring up a little bit, and you're morphing. I don't. It's probably just that internet.
Am I blurring here? Because I look clear on my end. And not only that, just hold tight because if there's anything in here, once again, they all want to join the party. So it doesn't surprise me. And if my face starts to look like this or whatever, then you know that they've joined the party. So anyway.
They're in there already. It's okay.
All right. Well, here's a couple of more questions real quick, and then we'll move on to the next talking point. But there's just two that I'd really love to touch on because it's pertinent. And here's one from Doxy. And she asks Dr. Kelly, do you notice your dogs or cats? Notice them. Mine often do before I do. I don't know if you have any pets.
Well, I don't have any animals, but I've heard many, 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 many people, my guests and people in general, that have always said that they always look up in the corner, or they're looking over here. I had one person's dog. She came to me for help. She says, my dog is being attacked by this thing, and it was showing signs of it and was actually hurting the animal as well. So it depends on what the energy is that's in that environment and what exactly their intention is regarding those individuals within the environment, including the poor animals. And you've heard those stories. You've heard things happen. Yes, they're very sensitive, and they can usually see and hear these things before we can. So
absolutely. They're psychic.
Wow. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're ready to move on to the next talking point, I can pull up that picture with you standing in front of the mirror. Is that the one you're ready to talk about?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, let me see. Oh, here it is. Because this, hold on. Let me pull that up. Boink, that one. This one is quite dramatic.
Yep. So, I started having experiences about, I would say, a couple of years ago. And it actually started in a Las Vegas hotel room where I was on the 60th floor in a very, very well-established hotel. And I looked out the window and I said, gee, I would like to see a UFO up here. I'm high enough. There's got to be something flying around up here. And then all of a sudden, my world started to change because something came into that room. I don't know what it was. It might have been paranormal. It might have been something extraterrestrial, but the light started to flicker. There was tappings on the wall, and then I got knocked out. And what happened was next day when I woke up, I felt very clean inside, like very cleansed, okay? I went to the doctor a couple months later, and I found out that I had cancer. And what I was told was that whatever was in there was not there to hurt me. It was there to clean my blood and basically prepare me for the operation of my life, which I had. But that didn't stop there. I started having experiences after that with my clothes being taken off and pulled down by my bed, things happening in the room. But it was this picture right here that said it all. It was, I woke up one morning. Well, I went to bed one night and it was like 2:00 in the morning. And I laid down and I thought it was my husband's shampoo. Something reeked really bad, smelled terrible. I said, I got to talk to him about his shampoo. This stuff just stinks. It was kind of that rose watery, but yet more smelly. And so there's been many theories on what that was that came in there. But the next day I got up, I just kind of, how you go to the mirror And there was right here, I'm going to show it to you, right where I'm at. There was a blood red, purplish handprint embedded in my body that lasted for 3 hours, but it was upside down. The fingers were elongated, and this one over here was crooked. Preston, show the one of my body if you wouldn't mind. This is the one of the handprint on my body now. You can see the markings on me. I went down to talk to my husband, and I said, look at this. And I said, what is this? And he said, I didn't touch you. Well, of course not, you know. And so you're going to see from this picture here, and those of you that are listening, it was like an upside down, blah, 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 et cetera, kind of hand. But that one finger, you'll see it, everybody. Do you see where it says the crooked finger that's bent? Those are very elongated, as if it was rubbing across my body. But yet I'm not really quite sure that they were rubbing, especially that crooked one. What's really interesting about that mark and everything is that it's directly over where I had COVID pneumonia, where I had to use a spirometer to suck out. They call it like a clog. You had to suck out the clog. I had it for COVID for 8 months. I was very sick. I nearly died twice. I also passed out once. But what's significant about this is the handprint was directly over where my COVID pneumonia was. And since that point, it had completely gone away. I asked the universe and many people, where did that handprint come from? I was very insistent about it. And one night I had a dream. And now, do you have the mantis being picture there? There, right there. Hold it, right there. So I had a dream, and so what was there was this person was walking away from me. It looked like my husband's cousin's kid, but when the thing turned around, it looked like this. It was a mantis being. You see those spindly fingers? Look at those fingers. And so there was a guest that I had on the show. And I said, I'm so frustrated. And I said, I had this mantis being, and it had a black COVID mask over its nose. And I said, and I woke up, I was in a sweat, my heart was beating, and I screamed out, don't ever, ever, ever do that to me again. Whoever you are, get out of my house. Don't ever come to me again. And he said to me, I think what that was, Kelly, was a healer, not anything that was going to hurt you. But this is what it looked like. And I wanted to bring that up just because of the coincidence of the COVID mask and where it was positioned and everything. And I have not ever had it since. And, you know, there's just a lot of stuff that has happened to me, but I'm evolving. I'm coming into my awakening. And things are continuing to happen to me. And again, I mean, this was like 3 hours on my body. Go ahead.
It was how long on your body?
3 hours, and then it just disappeared.
3 hours. It disappeared, or it faded and then disappeared?
Nope, no fading. Boom, disappeared, gone. Didn't fade, never faded. Just
did it? It felt like normal skin, no bruise.
Yes, didn't hurt or anything. I was even pushing into it. I'm like, God, does this hurt? Now you're not going to be able to see this at all. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't show it to you. It's gone again. Wow. Right here on my wrist. You can't see it. It's gone again. Yeah. I was going to show it to you earlier.
What happens with ET contact? It's very accelerated healing.
Gone again. I have a bruise right here. It looks like a bruise. I've had it for years.
Yeah.
And I had it literally before the show. I said, oh, I'm going to show them this. It's not here anymore. It's gone again. Yeah. So you see it comes and it goes. And I don't know if I've ever been abducted. I know I've been visited. And I know I've had things happen to me, and my memory might have been erased. But I'm just telling you, I'm evolving into an awakening. And everyone keeps saying your next step is going to be a ship experience if I haven't already been on a ship. So I don't know. There you have it.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Good. I don't really need that. So.
Yeah, they're not here right now. They can't be because our magnetosphere is so down. Yeah. It's too dangerous for them to fly. They bugged out for a while. So, but they can contact you consciously, you know.
Yeah.
Psychically. So,
yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
That sounds like you had an adventure. That sounds like you had a direct healing that they were watching over you.
Yes to the whole healing thing. With the cancer, definitely, and definitely the COVID pneumonia, definitely. It's
what kind of cancer was it?
Ovarian.
Wow.
And technically undetectable ovarian. undetectable, which got detected. And the doctor said to me, and he quoted, because I scoffed at him, he said, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me very clearly. You are a miracle right now.
90% of everybody who comes down with ovarian cancer, it's highly advanced by the time they find it, and it always takes the life. It's very hard to detect. It's almost impossible to detect.
When I scoffed at him, it's almost like he wanted to shake me. And I said that was when I took him serious, because I thought, oh, you say that to everybody, right? No. There are things that are happening in my life I cannot explain. Just be careful, everybody, what you wish for.
Yeah. Well, he loved you enough to help you out, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you still have we're doing really well, because we've just about covered all your talking points, and we still have about 10 minutes left.
Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask?
I think we got through most of the questions. Here is one question.
Oh, I've got another topic for you. I got another topic. Black-eyed kids.
Yeah, I saw that. All right.
Do you have that one? Put that up. I think people will be very interested in that one.
This will be good for. Oh, actually, we just have 5 minutes left, so
I will talk fast, and then put up the picture with the teeth.
Oh, okay.
Yep, just put it right up there.
There it is. This one looks frightening, Kelly.
Everybody, there you go. All right, now imagine this as a boy. This is actual. This is not the actual, but this is actually how the boy looked. Short, simple, and sweet. Worked at a major state fair. Always lights up like a light bulb. We're one of the top ones in the United States. We have a lot of energy. We also have a lot of activity. And where I worked, which was in a horse barn, not to scare anybody because it's everywhere, we had an experience with 2 incidences. I had one directly and indirectly. This one happened where this kid was discovered in a bathroom where he wasn't supposed to be, and he was kind of out of it. Now imagine this picture here with dark brown hair, short, over the eyes, exactly as you see it, and kind of out of it. Most people say, oh, he's on drugs. No, the kid wasn't on drugs. He was a black-eyed kid. And then he was emotionless. But what really got it, to the person who asked about animals earlier, a horse was coming to go out to get walked, saw this kid, freaked out, backed up as if it saw its own ghost. The people were distracted who was actually asking this kid how he got into a certain area where he was. And when they turned around and looked back, he disappeared and was gone. All right. They went looking for him, couldn't find him anywhere, no way to disappear into a crowd. That was situation number 1.
Demon, not E.T. Demon, absolute demon.
Situation number 2.
Right.
Here's number 2. Carnival. They're not all bad, but this kid came in at 1:30 in the morning, out of it. Kind of looked like an older version of a black-eyed kid, but talked just like a black-eyed kid. I want to get into your office. I need to get into your office. You need to invite me to come into your office. My friend will be here soon. Yada, 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 yada. All right. You can't get in there. Da, 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 da. The kid was completely out of it. And then I recognized where he came from. He came from the carnival. But what's significant about this is he's been with that carnival for years and years and years. And I used to play at the game that he ran. He was completely under possession of something. And you might have said demon there. Yeah. It was just classic.
Yeah.
Black-eyed all the way, classic on both of those cases. But yes, things do pop up from now and then. Yeah. But Kelly's a beacon, right? So anywhere Kelly goes, here they come, here they are, here they show up. So yeah.
Just shine your light.
We have time for one more question, and this is a good one. This is from Allison Carr, and she's asking you, Kelly, what's your most wild experience?
Well, other than the black-eyed kid in that cycling mirror, I would say that they just the quirkiest experience, because those 2 were frightening. They really were. They are the ones that make you want to leave this profession once and for all. But I would have to say that the funnest one, I have to tell you, and I've had many, was when I was in that jail and I had to have a drink, because it is so not Kelly at all. I mean, it is so not. Yeah. Oh, and being in Zach Bagan's haunted museum and being under possession in there was definitely something I will never go back into again. You can go in there. I can't go back in there because I am like a light to everything that's in there. So
you should talk to people who've had transplants. I'm one of them. I have a kidney transplant, and my donor used to drink 3 beers a day, Yinglings. And after the transplant, it took about, I don't know, about a month. I was on my feet doing pretty good, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I want a beer. My body would not leave me alone, and I actually, sat and thought, my God, this is going to hurt me if I drink a beer. And this little voice in the back of my head went, no, it's not. I'm drinking 1.5 beers already. And I realized that I'm in contact with my donor. I can hear her thinking she was having a beer when I wanted a beer. I actually called her up and said, are you having a beer? And she said, why don't you have one too? They're good for you. And I thought, oh my God. And I had to go to the store and I got a Yingling and I had a beer. And every now and then it crops up. I know when she's really wanting a beer or something, because I will feel the fact that she wants a beer. I also know when she's in trouble, and she does me too. It's almost like possession. I swear to you it is. It's just weird. I feel her every now and then, and she feels me.
Do we have 1 minute where I can talk about the attachments taken off of me? Because I'll speak really fast.
If you speak
1 minute, 1 minute fast. Go for it.
All right. I had 16 attachments taken off of me. All right. And basically, in a nutshell, I levitated back up in bed one night when I had these people from San Diego attempt to do it remotely. I thought that they were full of it. They were not full of it. I bent up, my mouth went wide open, and I started vomiting and vomiting and vomiting air. And it just kept coming out and coming out. And then when it was done, I fell back down. And the next day when I interviewed my guests, I said, by chance, did you do that last night? Yes, we did. And that was 16 of them coming right out of me. So,
oh, good.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't let them back in. Period. Anybody ever again, ever.
No, Dolly, I eat too much. I don't know if they have to fight to get back in my mouth, so.
Okay. Well, Kelly, where can we find your books?
Amazon is the best place, but I would go to just exactly that link there, www.paranormaluniversalpress.com. And on that, you've got the whole bio of me. You'll learn a lot more about me.
Put you in our notes. Yeah, we're going to send people to your podcast as well.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm now going to call it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Lightgate tonight. We love you all. We appreciate you all. And I hope you all had a really good time with us and Kelly tonight. Kelly, you're coming back. There's way more to unpack. Okay. We're coming to you from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana on the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. Thank you, everyone, for coming with us. We love you all. We bid you good night. Namaste. Night, night, everybody.